Shark Bit 3. I was in middle school, perhaps 7th or 8th grade, at the time. My brother, who is 2 years younger than I, were home alone with two of our friends of the same age. Our parents were out for the majority of the night at some dinner party, maybe 10 or 15 minutes away. Anyway, we were all in the basement playing video games, when I went upstairs with our dog to let her out to go to the bathroom. Our front doors are double doors. The one opens, while the second stays shut, unless you bend over and unhinge it at the bottom, and get on your tiptoes and do the same up top. We always keep it locked. So I let my dog, Nugget, out, shut the door and lock it. I'm 150% sure it was locked. I hadn't stayed home alone too many times before this, but my parents made sure to stress that I always kept the doors locked. So after locking the door, I head downstairs and continue to play video games with everyone else. About 20 minutes later, my friend Spencer says, "Hey, who let Nugget in?" It hits me that she is laying down about 5 feet from us all. We all look at each other with blank stares. I head upstairs, thinking my parents may be home. Calling out to them yields no response. Both of the double front doors are wide open. I run over, shut them, lock them, then check the garage. The car is still gone. I call my parents, and sure enough, they're still at the party. I explain what happened and they tell me they're coming home immediately. I grab a knife, run downstairs, and we all go and hide in the storage room until my parents come home. Scariest shit ever, and to this day I don't know what happened. TLDR home alone. Let my dog out, locked the doors. She gets back in the house and I find the door wide open. Obsidian stone. This experience I'm going to share scared the shit out of me. It happened almost 8 years ago when I was 20, and sometimes I still wondered just what the hell was going on. My best friend and I were both in a bind and looking for a place to move into ASAP. We found this basement apartment close to downtown. It was a total shithole, but it was a 2-bedroom for $650, which made it worth it for a bit while we found a better place. A few days after moving in, I started having really bad nightmares and waking up terrified but couldn't remember what I dreamt. After about a week of this, every time I was in my room I felt like someone was going to bust through my wall and kill me. The landlord had a storage he could access on the other side of my bedroom wall. Since my room was bigger and my friend's room was more like a closet, she moved into my room with me. I started noticing when I went into the backyard at night to let the dog go for a quick piss, it always looked like someone on the top floor of the house was watching me. My roommate noticed this too when she came out with me. Now me and my friend also had a mutual guy friend that we had met through. The three of us were always hanging out and he stayed over frequently. One night we were all out and after he decided to go home. My roommate and I stayed up a few hours till about 3-ish. Realizing we were likely to sleep in, we went to bring the dog out before going to bed. I had my dog on her leash so she wouldn't give me any monkey business when I wanted her to come in. Standing by the door, I started to see shadows that looked like people walking towards me and my roomie. I don't know what came over me, but I screamed, "Get in the house." My roommate was like, "WTF?" or something like that, but me, her and the dog booked it into the house. When we got to the bottom of the stairs, we both saw these red eyes peering into the shitty little windows we had. I screamed my face off, yelling out for our friend that went home earlier. My roommate's cell rings and it was our buddy, not sure why but had a feeling he should call. We had him book his ass over to our house. He stayed over almost every night for 2 weeks until we moved the hell out of there. I don't know why, but me and my roommate always felt like the landlord, upstairs resident, had something to do with our uneasy feelings. Make what you will of this, but it scared the ever-living crap out of me. 8 years later, and I still get the heebie-jeebies when I happen to pass that house on the streetcar. I am a trainer. When my twin brother and I were still kids, we used to sleep late during summer vacation. One time, our dad went out, and has not gone home. He normally knocks with a distinct rhythm, to let us know that he needs to come in, whenever he forgets his keys. We heard the same knock at around 11 p.m., and rushed to open the door, thinking that it was Dad. We asked who was knocking, to be safe. We did not hear any response, so my brother and I just shrugged it off, thinking that we were hearing things. Just as we turned around, we heard the rhythmic knock again. We asked who was knocking, but still got no response. We ran upstairs, a bit scared, but thinking that maybe it was Dad's idea of a joke. Then we heard a sound, very similar to the doorknob turning and our door opening. But the door was closed. We ran up again, and heard heavier footsteps running after us. No one was behind us, so we ran toward our bedroom and tried to slam the door shut. We heard a loud thud, instead, like we hit someone or something. The door also flew back as if we did hit something running towards it. We dove under the covers and started shouting our lungs off until, you guessed it, Mom and Dad came to check what was happening. Turns out Dad did not leave the house at all during that night. Nipples for hire. I was with a friend of mine during high school, so this is about 3 years ago. I was visiting a friend of mine in Korea for the summer and we had stayed out for the night because it was a Friday. We were sitting on this park bench and we see this kid walk by with a box of fried chicken. He sat down a few benches away and we ignored him until we started to leave. As we started to leave the small park, we saw him drop an unfinished piece of fried chicken, and then start to walk our way. We brushed it off because maybe he had to go in this direction and maybe he was just really lazy and didn't want to throw his food away. With that, we started walking away. We crossed a road and as we did so, we saw that he was on the other side. We would have ignored it again, had he not given a smile and a wave. I asked my friend if she knew him, but she also seemed confused. We then just assumed that he was a creepy kid or some kind of stalker. We gave a little awkward wave back before turning around and walking at a faster pace. We went a few blocks before going into a coffee house. We were still a bit wary about the child, but we doubted that he would follow us this far. We were wrong. We watched him through the window as he turned a small corner and then followed the street towards us. My friend scares easily, so she told me she wanted to go to the bathroom. So we did. To explain the Korean bathroom situation, most public food areas or cafes are attached to larger buildings, and to get to the bathroom, you have to leave the cafe through a door within the cafe and then go into the hallway. While I calmed my friend down in the bathroom, it happened. The lights turned out. The door was kicked open, and then we were pushed into a stall. Hands groped my hair, and another covered my mouth. It didn't matter. I was far too terrified to scream. I felt something cold against my throat. I could hear my friend's gasps of pain and I thought that I was going to be killed or raped by this psycho kid. But then he stopped. He whispered, "Wrong one," before running out of the bathroom. We were left there in the dark, unable to grasp what had just happened to us, and even now I am haunted by nightmares of what that boy could have possibly meant, or possibly have been trying to do.